Let's start with our first news. Alex Pereira hates Dricus Du Plessis. Sean Strickland claims that a headbutt caused the cut that he sustained during his first fight against Dricus Du Plessis. He believes that the injury played a crucial role in his performance, stating that his impaired vision affected the outcome of the fight. As he heads into their title rematch this weekend, Sean is confident that the fight will play out differently without the setback of a cut. Oh man, the cut. Obviously, I hate getting back to that, but the cut made it real difficult for me. You know, there ain't gonna be a headbutt, ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna pick you apart round by round. I work off like I have some of the best training partners in the world, Johnny Eblen being one of them. Came out here and helped me for the last 2 or 3 weeks of camp. Johnny Eblen should be in the UFC, by the way. UFC, sign that, man. Strickland continues, I've just been training with world-class fighters day in, day out, improving my skills. You know, it wasn't about the belt, it was about settling something that needs to be settled. It just needs to be settled, not settled. There's too much doubt in the air, so at least now we get to settle it once and for all. He goes on to say that he's never had bad blood with Dricus, even when he lost his cool with him. Again, I wasn't pissed off at you, I was pissed off at myself. I always think anger is weakness. Anytime you lose control of any kind of emotion, it's a weakness. It's kind of a stain on your character, so you know, be better. Sean Strickland also addressed Alex Pereira cornering him once again for this weekend's fight. Pereira had previously expressed interest in moving back down to middleweight to face Dricus himself. According to Sean, Pereira actually has a strong dislike for Dricus. Yeah, I know, Alex came to corner me, he was already out here, and I was like, dude, if you're out here, man, swing by. You know, me and Alex, I don't think we ever actually spoke a word to each other, you know, but I think Alex is an angry mother sayer. Alex is angry, and for some reason, dude, he hates Dricus. Like, I don't know what you did to him, but he hates you, dude. So it's like the way he looks at Dricus sometimes, I'm like, dude, like I'm fighting him, dog. Like it's me, dude. But yeah, now Alex, he just has that hate in his heart and he's a good dude. Moving on to the second news, Khabib and Islam refused Nina's interview. Nina's drama has sparked controversy after revealing that UFC stars Khabib Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev refused to grant her an interview in an Instagram video. Nina expressed frustration, explaining that their manager Ali Abdelaziz told her that her interview style, often personal and sometimes intimate, was not appropriate for the two fighters, given their strict religious beliefs as devout Muslims. In her Instagram post, Nina shared her disappointment. I was really looking forward to interviewing Khabib and Islam. They're two of the biggest names in MMA, and I thought it would be a great conversation. But then Ali told me my interviews aren't appropriate for them because I asked too many personal questions, especially about relationships and sex. Since they are very religious, they don't want to be part of that kind of conversation. Nina clarifies, I wouldn't have asked sensitive questions. I know Khabib and Islam are very religious, and I respect that. If I had interviewed them, I would have kept it strictly about MMA, their careers, and their values. I wouldn't have asked anything inappropriate. I just wanted a chance to show that. Despite this, the fighters and their team stood by their decision, preferring not to engage with her platform at all. Frustrated by the situation, Nina called their refusal unfair, saying, I don't understand this decision. If they had concerns, we could have set clear boundaries. Instead, they dismissed me outright. I think it's unfair to reject an interview without even considering a discussion about what topics are or aren't acceptable. She also pointed out that fighters frequently speak to various media outlets, questioning why she was being treated differently. They've done plenty of interviews before. Why am I the problem just because my style is a little different? I think public figures should be open to different types of media, especially when it's about their careers. A few hours later, after facing backlash, Nina deleted her video and posted an apology on Twitter. I want to sincerely apologize if I came across as disrespectful. I spoke out of frustration and without fully considering the cultural and personal aspects involved. I still believe their decision was unnecessary, but I respect that Khabib and Islam have every right to decide who they speak to. She admitted that while she still felt disappointed, she now understood their perspective better. I may not fully agree with it, but I respect their choice. As an interviewer, I need to be mindful of different perspectives. Lesson learned. Nina's apology received mixed reactions. Some fans appreciated her reflection, while others felt she had backtracked too quickly. Supporters of Khabib and Makhachev praised them for sticking to their values, while critics saw the situation as part of a larger debate about media access, personal boundaries, and fairness. Moving on to another news, Ilia Topuria officially moves to 155. Volk versus Lopez. Dana White fight because it's B. Ilia Topuria has made it official. He's moving up to lightweight. In an exclusive Spanish interview with COPE, now translated into English by us at MMA Psycho, the UFC featherweight champion confirmed that his next fight will be at 155 pounds. He revealed that he's aiming for a return in May or June, but is even willing to fight as early as April if Islam Makhachev is ready. What makes this even more intriguing is that El Matador confirmed he's already in discussions with the UFC, and his interest in defending his featherweight title is almost non-existent in his mind. He's already taken out the two biggest names in the division, Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway, leaving little incentive to stay at 145. Several sources are reporting that Volk versus Diego Lopez should be announced soon for UFC 314 in Miami for an interim title, adding even more intrigue to the situation. Fueling speculation even further, Dana White recently teased that something special is in the works for Makhachev. When asked if it was a super fight, he hinted that the interviewer was on the right track, adding to the buzz. Makhachev's manager posted on Twitter that Islam Makhachev's next opponent won't be Charles Oliveira, with both Makhachev and Topuria having cleared out the biggest threats in their respective divisions. A showdown between them is starting to make more and more sense. Is it possible that we've already seen your last featherweight fight? The interviewer asks. Yes, for sure. Most definitely. I mean, I've been struggling so much with weight cuts, and now it's time to enjoy myself a bit more, enjoy what I do, you know, and not focus so much on the weight cut, because otherwise it just gets exhausting. Is this weight change your decision, a sports decision, or a medical decision advising you to move up? Well, yeah, imagine, I made my UFC debut in 2020, and I started ranking in featherweight. That's 4 years of grueling weight cuts. There was talk about Miami. I don't know, honestly, I have no idea because I still have a couple of conversations pending, discussing it, seeing how they envision my future. But me, well, I have it pretty clear in my mind more or less how I want to do it and how I want to shape it. I'm definitely moving up to lightweight though. I want to have 3 fights in 2025 now. I want to move up and weight, and we'll see how everything unfolds, right? The ideal timeline is April or May. April would most likely be in Miami, and if it gets pushed back to May, then probably Canada. But well, April or May is the target. Honestly, if he wants to, we can do it in April if he's ready. The interviewer asks, you said you're preparing something special for Islam. Is it in his weight class or a different weight class? Dana White replies, as soon as we announce it, you'll know. While some fans argue that it's too soon for El Matador to move up, especially with an undefeated contender like Makhachev still in the featherweight division, the conversation is gaining momentum. One thing is clear, the UFC is brewing something massive for the fans. What do you think about Ilia's move to lightweight? Do you believe he's ready, or should he defend his featherweight title one more time? And what do you think about Volk and Lopez potentially fighting for an interim belt? Who do you see winning that matchup? And does Makhachev deserve the title shot instead? Leave your comments below. Moving on to another news, a disturbing footage surfaced today showing Conor McGregor appearing to spit in a man's face after the individual shouted, "Let's go Khabib." The incident reportedly took place at Diplo's show at the Wynn in Las Vegas, where McGregor was in attendance. The clip quickly gained traction on social media, with many users noting that spitting on someone could be considered a form of assault and battery. Speculation has already begun that the individual involved may pursue legal action against McGregor. What do you guys think of the footage? Post your opinions in the comments. Alright, let's get the show started. Recent photos of Sean Strickland have been circulating online, catching quite a bit of attention after the UFC shared images from a recent photo shoot for UFC 312. Fans noticed the mark on Strickland's arm, sparking speculation that it might be a staph infection. Dricus Du Plessis even reposted this photo to his Instagram stories, jokingly writing, "What? He grew taller and added staph infection to his arsenal." During the UFC 312 pre-fight press conference, Sean addressed the rumors and, in classic Strickland style, denied the potentially fight jeopardizing rumor. "Sean, do you have staph infection and are you healthy coming into this fight?" a reporter asks. "Listen, you fucks, I'm immune to staph. We cut off. Do you see this mustache? I give staph. I don't get staph. Calm the F down. I don't get sick. I don't get injured. And I don't get staffed. So relax, I'm going to be out there on Sunday and I'm going to come out hard and strong, the hardest and strongest you've ever seen, to the Fing death. Volkanovski's prediction for Strickland versus Du Plessis as UFC 312 rapidly approaches. Alexander Volkanovski has shared his thoughts on the main event title fight between Sean Strickland and Dricus Du Plessis. Volkanovski, known for his tactical approach to the sport, broke down the fight from his perspective, offering fans a glimpse into how he thinks the match will play out in the octagon. Stylistically, Sean is a pretty safe fighter, so I can't see him getting finished. I can see him being in the fight the whole time, not getting too flustered, but I feel like Dricus maybe will edge some of them rounds, cause, you know, Sean's very clever, he's pretty safe in the way he approaches. Even though he presses, he's pretty defensive, you know? Sometimes I feel like he may let some rounds get away from him. And, you know, Dricus is gonna try and bring it. He's gonna be pretty scrappy. He's gonna throw some, you know, awkward kicks, whatever it is, and maybe start landing a little bit and just edging rounds. But I think it's gonna be a fun one. Bit of chatter as well, you know. You know, Sean likes to talk in this, so I think it's gonna be a bit of that as well. It's gonna be entertaining, so I'm looking forward to it. Daniel Cormier on the future of Israel Adesanya. Daniel Cormier doesn't believe for a second that Israel Adesanya is done as a fighter. Izzy has now suffered 3 consecutive defeats and has won just 1 out of his last 5 fights. Despite the rough stretch, DC doesn't see Izzy contending for titles again, but insists that he can still compete at a high level in the sport. On his YouTube channel, DC said, "I believe that Adesanya is done fighting for titles, but what I do not believe is that Adesanya is done as a fighter. What I saw in round 1 was enough for me to believe that he could still compete. What I do believe, though, is that Izzy has earned the right to fight lesser competition right now, but also less rounds. Israel Adesanya has earned the right to be in a 3-round fight, a fight against someone who isn't on their way to a championship, because you could say what you want about Chimaev, the guy's on a short list of guys that could be in title contention." DC continues, "There would be no disappointment if after Nasser won last weekend, the next middleweight championship fight includes him. Granted, there's Khamzat Chimaev. He could fight on co-main events and would still add value to a pay-per-view. It doesn't always have to be those 5-round main events. But when you saw what he did last weekend, Saudi Arabia, sold out, big gate, now you know why Adesanya is still being put in those positions."